Welcome back, coaches. This is the Football Coaching Podcast. I am Daniel Chamberlain, co-host, here with Joe Daniel, as always.
What's up, Coach?
Coach, it's scrimmage 2 week. Game week's next week. There has been real football on our TVs.
Yep.
We got to watch some decent college games. Got to watch Kansas State go for it on 4th and 5 on their own 30 or whatever. Like, there's already been some things going down.
It was a good game. Yeah. They did a lot of. There's a lot more in that game, and I assume we're going to be seeing even more of it this season of kind of the analytics showing up, and we'll continue to see more of that.
Yeah, which is good for football, right? I think it's good for coaches to finally buy into that a little bit. Not that like just calling it from the seat of your pants doesn't work sometimes. I guess if you just got people outmatched. Or, tonight we're going to be talking about not having an identity. Jump into that, we're talking about identifying your core principles, non-negotiables, establishing your identity of your football team, and of course, getting buy-in to that identity. But that's, we watched those guys. That's their identity, right? We watched Kansas State head coach say, look, we're going to go for it. We're going to put it all on the line. 8 minutes in the game left. If you punt it away, they can burn a ton of that. We haven't stopped them on offense lately. We got to go win the game here with 8 minutes. So
I think that's the big thing that's going to come out of analytics is, I think I talked about it last week. The Signal and the Noise was a book that I just finished, and it's a book about essentially predictions, and it goes through predicting everything from sports betting to earthquakes to weather, earthquakes, stock market, all kinds of stuff, and over again, the most successful predictions are the ones with the most information, which means, multiple different ways of looking at, multiple different computer formulas, but also the addition of the human element. And so, we can make a lot of calculations too. So if coaches just go in and say, analytics are the analytics are based on, if you look deep into analytics, and there's some things where we talk about, fourth down, this and that, but like when you calculate your analytics, when you get a plan based on analytics, it's based on what you have. It's based on everything from at least the company we used. It's based on how we're doing and how we see ourselves, based on what we've seen them do on film and how they've been doing. And that creates the analytics, and then, just the general numbers, and that creates the analytics. Well, if the game is not always going the way that we were doing before and they were doing before, you have to factor that in live real time. So, it's just like, hey, it's the analytics says go for it on fourth down here. A lot of people think the analytics say means no matter what, if the analytics say ball's on 39, it's 4th and 3, everyone on God's green earth should go for it in this position.
Right.
That's not the case, right? So that's the key, I think, to the analytics is there's always, it's not coaching on autopilot. If you just go and trust the analytics, it might be better than going by gut if you trust the analytics because you see things that aren't there. But if you just 100% blind faith the analytics, you're going to be not much better off than going on gut instinct.
Yes, that's a good point. It's not you can't just give everything to it, right? You still have to have the analytics can't feel the emotions of the game. They can't see what's been working. There's a ton of it. You still got to have.
Well, they can't factor things like injuries, and it's like,
like
the analytics can't sit there and go, your left guard has a sprained ankle, but he's playing through it. It's like that factors into something, and like hey, he can't push off to the right, he can't pass protect because his left, that's his plant, whatever. It's like that's the stuff that we got to think about.
Yeah,
you can throw 5-step right now. I can only throw 3-step because my right guard is barely alive.
That's why we're using a new analytics, winning edge performance analytics this year, and a gentleman named Doug has created it, and I love it because it's not AI. It's not this is what's going on, tell me what to do next. It's basically like tagging film during the game and then getting that tendency report at any point that you want it is essentially what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's big for us, but we're not putting the game into a computer and saying, tell me what to do next. Right. So that's been big for us. Let's jump into our level ups real quick, man, and then we'll get on with the podcast.
All right. Well, I mean, mine is if you're on audio, you don't notice it, but if you are watching on YouTube or if you're watching live on the social medias, I have been frustrated with the office layout for a while. So I finally, I guess, the problem is you don't get a week off to do this stuff. Like I would love to have like a little bit of time to reorganize the office, but I guess Friday I had a webinar Thursday night. So probably Friday night, I started moving stuff. I've been going back and forth with, I mean, quite honestly, I've been going back and forth with ChatGPT for days, just giving it the layout of the room. What do you think would look good? Looking at things that I'd tried before and things. And this is a wonky room because there's a big picture window. And so if your back is too big picture window, like it was before, big picture window is in the background. If you face it, it's,
Yes.
and then the whiteboard would be behind me and that's going to have glare. And then I've got a window on the other side. So I've got one wall that kind of has to be this wall. But essentially the way the layout is now, I like that I have one solid wall, painted the wall. I got a plant.
The plant looks good.
Yeah, thank you.
The biologist in me loves it.
Yeah, that's my plant. So I got a plant and did a couple other things, kind of reorganized the shelf, put some things up on the wall, painted the wall kind of a midnight bluish color, really dark blue, royal, very dark. And everything that is off camera right now is an utter disaster. An absolute disaster. I mean, you cannot walk on the other. And the downside of this is I like the way that this looks. And this is the purpose of everything. And work-wise, I've got my desk and I've got plenty of space. And it's more convenient because I've got my printer over here. I've got things that I need within reach. But I have like a love seat over here that I like to sit on and just kind of like, well, it's pretty cramped now.
Right.
I used to stretch on the floor, here and there. That's not happening. I'm going to have to find another spot for that. So sacrificed a little bit of the room to get a better, what you see behind me,
For sure.
a better look, I hope. But that is my level up is I put, so today, and then I'll say also today I took a lot of time because one of the biggest struggles is lighting and getting lighting right is very difficult.
You can see because it's a little.
Yeah, like you're in a different place and it's just like we're just gonna, you can't do anything about it.
Wing it sometimes.
But I took a lot of time today. I set up some lights and just spent a lot of time because at first it was like really bad. It was awful. If anybody saw me on, well, I don't think anybody here saw me on, but like I had our staff meeting, my staff meeting Monday morning. That was the first thing I did. And I'm like in a blue shirt and I have the window open. It's just like, it's just washed out electric blue. So I spent a bunch of time today organizing the shelf, but also tweaking with the camera and the focus and the all that kind of stuff, exposure, all that kind of stuff to try to get it so it's not like glare and everything. So I'm very happy with where we're at. It's probably not done, but pretty happy with it.
That's okay. That's the good thing about those. You can just kind of keep doing that stuff, right? You can keep tweaking it. It's yours. It ain't going anywhere. So my level up, I kind of have two. I probably have more. We kind of had a hurdle that we got to jump over this week for a big event in my life, which I'm still awaiting to announce. So we'll see how it turns out. But I'm traveling now because I went and did another podcast today. It's called the Undefeated Podcast. It was a lot of fun. There's a gentleman out of Norman, Oklahoma, who does this big podcast, and like going to do an in-person. I know you and I have been doing this for like 4 years now, and like meeting every Tuesday just about to get online. Doing an in-person, man, is just so much. I don't know what. It's just better. I just really liked it. But anyway, it was neat. I drove for like 4 hours to go down there and do it, but it's worth it. I really enjoyed it. A lot of fun. So if you haven't listened, I think it's called the Defining Moments Podcast is the actual name of it. Anyway, it was a good one just to go listen. It was an interview about me. So you've probably heard the story because you listened to the Football Coaching Podcast, but had a ton of fun there. But I'm traveling tonight. I stayed on the road because we have got a military friend of mine, a veteran who I've deployed with a couple times, and his wife is someone that I went to University of East Central with and did some college time with. Like two different people from completely different parts of my life ended up meeting at random. I didn't even introduce them, and they ended up getting married. And so I'm down visiting them, but they have had a food truck for like 6 years now, and they're super successful. And I think that's what I'm going to do in my spare time. Is it's a very flexible thing. You can go out. I love cooking for people. I love it. Like serving others is that's what kind of brings me joy. So I'm hoping to take something they've shown me can be very successful. They already have it all set up, so I can just kind of piggyback off of their system. And I'm going to use an older trailer of theirs to kind of get started, and then eventually upgrade if we get good at it like they have. But I have so many cool cooking ideas and just like catering food and all that, and I love cooking. So we're going to give that a shot. So I had to come down in here today and help clean up the old trailer and get it ready. It's got everything has to be re-inspected because they moved on to bigger, better things. So it's just been kind of sitting. So that's why I'm on the road, is kind of get that ready. The last one, and then I watch the movie The Martian about once a month. Have you seen The Martian? I'm sure you have, right?
I don't think so.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch it. It's a masterpiece. It's super good. The story is great. The acting is wonderful. But I had a ton of questions as I'm watching through it. I'm very scientific minded. I think about some of the physics aspects and all that of the movie, the biology, blah, 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 blah. And so after like my 23rd watch through, I'm like, okay, I have questions. So I turned to Google, and Google took me to Reddit, and Reddit was like, if you read the book, it'll give you all the answers, right? Because it's way more in depth. There's a ton of things, hurdles he had to jump to survive. You don't know the story. Basically, an astronaut gets left on Mars. He then, by accident, he then has to survive there for essentially a year and a half, waiting on the crew to return to get him, because they got to get all the way back to Earth to get supplies, go back and pick him up. And then it's like this big giant rescue at the end. But he's going through all these struggles of like the planet, obviously nothing that lives there. And so he has to live there and grow food, blah, blah, blah. So I read the book, audiobook. I listened to the book over the last like 5 days, dude. Once I started listening, I was addicted. Like, I'm hooked. It's such a good book. And I used it as my level up because, like always, I try to connect these things back to football and coaching for the podcast. But they get to a point where they're doing the big rescue at the end, and he has to blast off the planet in this stripped down ship. And he's remote. He has no gut control, no communication, blah, blah, blah. And they're on Earth watching all this happen around Mars, and they're 12 light minutes away, which what that means for us is that basically comms takes 12 minutes for them to to see a problem, and then 12 more minutes for them to get a solution back. So basically, say the crew that's picking him up are on their own. And I kind of thought about that for a minute. Like, 12 minutes is forever, and the whole launch takes like 21 minutes. So before they could answer one question, the launch would be done. Everybody would be dead, or they figured it out on their own. So they do anyway. And it kind of got me thinking about game nights, and you're sitting on the sideline, and your linebacker doesn't understand what's in front of them, and they look over to you like, what are we going to do, right? What's our answer here to this problem? And you may as well be 12 light minutes away from them trying to save a guy on Mars, because yes, it's not happening 12 light minutes away, but that 24-minute or 23-minute or whatever launch is the same as 40 seconds between plays, right? Like we have a very limited amount of time to communicate in, to see it, recognize a problem, communicate that it's a problem, find a solution, communicate it back. Oh, look at that. Samantha says the priority list is on now. Thanks, Joe. You fixed me up. I'm going to get a new office.
Got you. Yeah, now you've got work to do.
There we go. Anyway, but just that communication piece and how important communication is. And man, when it gets stripped from you, and it's not generally stripped from us, we're just terrible at it. We're really bad at communicating with others and problem solving. But really, I was thinking about game night when it's just like, I can't fix this problem for you, man. That you have to, like, practice has to answer those questions for you. Sure, between drives or halftime, whatever, we can go in and make adjustments. But in the heat of the moment, the ball's about to get snapped. They shift, trade, motion, whatever, show a formation. There's not a lot we can do for our players. So it just kind of puts that importance back on prepping them to be able to play the game by themselves, to problem solve on their own. So anyway, if you haven't read The Martian, even if you've seen the movie, if you haven't seen the movie, Joe, go watch the movie. It's amazing. If you have seen the movie, go read the book or audio. It's on Spotify, for which I'm a Spotify premium guy, but it's on there for free if you pay for the premium. And that's where I listen to it at, because I always buy my books, but I didn't want to spend any more money. So Anyway, very long level up, but a couple of them that I thought were pretty neat, but mainly the Martian, just the communication piece. Last week, we talked about not having enough depth at key positions. A great episode. Go back and listen to, just about creating that depth from what you have, making something out of what you might right now perceive to be nothing. Next week, we're talking about we can't move the ball consistently. I'm really looking forward to that one because that's like, I think, the ultimate problem in football. Either I can't stop people or I can't move it, right? Like that's one of the two that a lot of coaches struggle at some point in their life. So I'm really looking forward to that. Real quick before we move on, if you're finding value here, if you have on any other episode, or if you find something tonight, chances are pretty good that your coaching buddies are going to find some value too, or people you know in the industry. So hit the share button. If you're watching on Facebook, you're watching on Twitter, wherever you're watching tonight, or if you're listening a lot or listening back to the recording later, share this out. We really want to spread the word of the Football Coaching Podcast and kind of get more people in on the good info. So hit that share button. Joe, let's pay the bills, and then we'll get on with it.
Oh, man. I totally forgot about paying the bills. All right.
Notepad. 47 tab over.
47 tabs. Yeah. When I keep my notepad like skinny, I don't use like a full screen notepad. So it's really annoying. Is your football team stuck in a losing tradition you can't seem to break? You put in hours of hard work. You do all the right things. You've tried changing the scheme and you've tried changing the culture, but nothing seems to work. You can't break the losing cycle. When the going gets tough, when adversity strikes, everybody's head drops and it's the same old, here we go again feeling. It is time to break out. My latest coaching manual, Breaking the Losing Cycle, reveals how underdog teams are turning around their seasons without needing more talent or a bigger roster. Find out why teams stay stuck in the losing cycle, the secret ingredient for breaking out, and the quick fix solutions that you can use right now in season to break the losing cycle for good. You can download that free manual right now at joedanielfootball.com/breaking to break the losing cycle and put an end to your losing tradition now. It's joedanielfootball.com/breaking. BREAKING. I still haven't added that other one.
Got to add the other one. Somebody's going to do it.
I know. Look, the second most searched thing for Joe Daniel football for the last 15 years has been Joe Daniels football. And why I haven't bought Joe Daniels football yet, I don't know. Somebody probably bought it by now.
So I don't know if I've ever told you, but like I have relatives that their last name is Daniel. So it's not no S. So it's just normal for me. But I get on the phone call or on a call with people, a video call, and they're like talking about Coach Daniels. I laugh every time.
Yep.
We all know that speed wins games. The real question is, are you fast enough? Speed changes everything. It turns average plays into touchdowns and good players into game breakers. But here's the truth. Real speed isn't just natural, it's trained. At Athletic Speed and Movement, we show athletes how to get faster, quicker, and more explosive using proven methods that translate directly to the field. Our system was built by Del Basquette, who's done it at the highest levels, being the very first speed coach in the NFL. But it works for all athletes at every level on the way down. So whether you're a coach looking to elevate your team or a parent wanting to give your athlete an edge, this is where speed starts. Go to athleticspeedmovement.com and learn how to build real speed that shows up on game day. Don't just play the game, outrun it. Never going to not use that. That's a good one. All right, man, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. So we're talking about not having an identity. How do we kind of create that team philosophy, that what the team truly is at its core? So how do we do that? And really we want to focus here on core principles, non-negotiables. Joe, how do we get started with all that?
The key thing with your core principles, and your core principles are going to feed into your non-negotiables. There has to be certain things within you as a coach and your philosophy, certain things within your schemes, certain things within your playbook, certain things within the way that you do things that are non-negotiable. They are, this is who we are and what we do. And there is no discussion about it. There is no, let's do something different. Let's try something different. At least not once you commit to it. So for me, my overall philosophy has always been the coach simple, play fast, win, which really is about simplify. Don't do things that aren't, that are overcomplicated, that slow the players down. If you overcomplicate things, you're going to slow the players down. Always err on the side of doing something that is easier for the players than doing something that is schematically, cooler or seems like it'd be better on paper, but it confuses the kids. And, part of that is understanding that bandwidth of confidence and remembering that. So for me, I guess one of the core principles that comes out of that is listening to the players, because a lot of things seem easy to us and maybe even easy to some other players. When we go, well, this is just, he's just going to do this a little bit different. It's not a big deal. Well, so many things. I mean, like our offensive line, right? The center calls out the zero. Usually the center, I can get a center who can learn who to call out zero, but really doesn't matter. Call out somebody as zero. Well, the next guy is one. The next guy is two. The next guy is how hard is this? This is one of the hardest things to get, to simply get them. I mean, even it's not that they can't count to three. It's that they're not used to talking, communicating, doing all this sort of stuff. I mean, you look, I mean, and a lot of this, you go back to what is modern, what does education look like? Education is put folders up around your desk so that you can't see what everybody else is doing. You are on your own, and there is a right answer and a wrong answer, and the pressure is on you to get the right answer. And I put these guys up on the offensive line, and they go, talk to each other, cheat on the test, help each other. And there's not a right answer. There's yes, we have rules, but like there's problem solving. There's work to be done here. That's not what education looks like. So it's easy to me, but if it's not paint by numbers, and look, I have coaches who come in. We have hours and hours and hours of instruction and clinic and everything. And what do a lot of coaches want? Just tell me what to install. Just give me a practice plan. Just give me the drills. And that's fine. For some, that's what some people want, right? And that's what players want. And it's like, I can do that. It's never going to be as good. I can tell the players, here is the rule. It's never going to be as good. But understanding that, we've got to listen to the players. The old way was if the players are screwing it up. When I say listen to the players, it's paying attention. It's body language. It's everything. If the players are screwing it up, I've got to figure out the problem. I love to scream and yell, and nobody would love to call the kids stupid more than I would. And it's still funny every once in a while when I see a coach do it. I'm like, that's pretty funny. You got another right, kids, but it's still funny. But you got to also step back and go, all right, let's look at this. So core principles for me on defense, obviously, is the umbrella run fits. Everything is built around that. Everything is based around that. Core principles for me are not necessarily the 90-minute practice plan, but that you've got a practice plan. It's well planned out. It's, if you go 90, if you go 2 hours, if you go 2 hours 15, it's okay, but it needs to be fast paced. We need to have a plan. We need to go out there and attack the day and all that sort of stuff. So, on offense, it's things that, I want to use formations. I want to use plays. I want to attack numbers, but it's also the offensive playbook that we are going to be great at something. And by being great at one play, pick the play and be great. And this is really hard, by the way. Pick the play to be great at, such that it makes everything else easier. And we talk about that all the time, that if, we know that a base offense has an inside run, an outside run, an off tackle run, and a counter, and then you have a play action. So let's just take those 5 plays just as a base offense. Well, if I pick one of those, and always we come back to power most of the time, but but it's not, it doesn't have to be that. And it hasn't been that for me for a while. But if I get so good at power that we can run power and gain yardage against, anything. And so the only way that you can defend power is to add numbers, to adjust. And so if I see you sliding to my H-back, which is the direction that I run power, then I run counter. If I see you bringing the strong safety in, the force defender, tightening him in to help out, then I run toss. If I see the corner getting involved, then I run the play action. If I see you widen the tackles to take away power and counter, then I run up the middle with inside zone or with wedge or with whatever it is. And so, being great at something. So those are a lot of different things for me. But what they lead into is the non-negotiables at each position. And each position has certain non-negotiables. Each position has things that, look, if you can't do this at this position, you can't play for us. And the key to those is, for the most part, the non-negotiables take no talent. So it is not the non-negotiable for a linebacker. It's not that he can tackle. It's not that he can rip through and beat a block. It's that if he pulls, follow. If he doesn't fill, if that offensive lineman pulls and you don't follow him across the center, look for the first open door if he's pulling inside, you can't play for us. If you can't squeeze a down block on the defensive line, you can't play for us. Because all it requires you to do is run down the line of scrimmage because you're unblocked and run into the next thing you see. I don't think talent. The only one that takes talent is being able to fill the alley, and that's free safety, and that should be one of your best players. So that's the idea behind those.
The non-negotiables, I think, is really big. Core values, obviously, you said something a while ago, like things seem easy to us. I remember, every coach thinks zone read is easy, or whatever version of that you're running, GT read or RPOs, whatever, right? We always think that's so easy because it's a simple if-then. If he does this, you do that. But kids, that's really hard. And even if you went from reading like a 3-tech to a 9 to an outside backer for an RPO, it's not the same. Like kids they just don't see it the same way we do. We got back to last week kind of talking, I think it was last week, talking about O-linemen and like the front side of power, everything's kind of the same. But to an offensive lineman moving from guard to tackle to tight end, that's like 3 different positions. That's or gap scheme. It's the same no matter what, right? But it's just not to them. Things aren't the same. I kind of wanted to go back where you talk about, a lot of guys just want to be handed the answer, right? Even if it's coaching, whatever it is, like people, obviously people come to joedanielfootball.com and buy into your system because it's everything you need, from applying for a head coaching job to running a program, both coordinators, a position coach at any level. Like everything is on joedanielfootball.com. All the answers are there. But the more I live in it, I'm in my, 4th or 5th year of going through the system. It's like, I'm more of a show me a way, and then I'll kind of create my own from there. But I need to know, what does right look like so I can start modifying it to fit where I'm at. And I hope that a lot of coaches are that way. Because I don't do everything by the book at joedanielfootball.com. Heck, I do game film analysis for you. And I say, here's the by the book answer. And then here's what I would do, right? Because it's just, everything can't be the same, right? Our worlds, every team is different. Every field is different. Every opponent is different. So, things just, you can't live in that world. However, you can live in that world of like having principles, whatever they are for you, the umbrella run fits. Ours is like separating the chaos or the complexity from the O-linemen and the skill kids, right? O-linemen are mountain movers. They're going to block up and do 5 simple plays every game. And then our skill kids are going to run all over the place. Our non-negotiables are like, you need to learn whatever it is, 3 tags, 5 tags, whatever it is, but they're universal. So I can use them over and over and over again. Every formation, every play type, I can tag things to them. So I don't need you to learn 5 different tags for each play we do. No, just learn your 5 and move on with life. So those are kind of our non-negotiables. But I think if you don't have those developed yet, if you haven't seen a way those kind of work out, it would be fairly hard, especially if you're somewhere that they've never had anything, right? I think there's a team here that's called the Davis Wolves, right? So Davis, Oklahoma is stacked in state championships, and they've done it a way forever. I'm talking 3-point stance by the wide receiver, wishbone. That's how life works in Davis, Oklahoma, right? And I don't know. I couldn't tell you 100% right now they still do that every Friday night. But if I said that, and I'm saying it live on the air, a lot of people are like, yep, that's Davis football, because that was their identity. Smash mouth, option, triple option football. When you see a wide receiver go into a 3-point stance, like
Right.
This is going to get pretty physical. So, that's their identity. Not every town in Oklahoma has an identity like that. And if you're starting at a place that doesn't have one, that can be a pretty tough thing to identify. So getting those core things that you're going to live by and your non-negotiables is a great starting point. But that moves us into part 2 for tonight, Joe. And that's just kind of like, as you try to start establishing that identity of a football team, maybe you are a new head coach. Maybe it's a terrible team. They haven't won a game in 5 years. You got to start somewhere. So how do you go about establishing that identity for your team this year?
I think the first thing is that you declare what those core principles are, you declare what those things are, and then you communicate that to your team in a way that says, like, there is no discussion about this, right? This is it. And it needs to come, they need to hear it from you over and over and over again. And I think that part of that comes from being in it for a long time. There are things that I say all the time, and I get to say them all the time because I do this all the time. If he pulls, follow. If he doesn't, fill. And all the time. And where he's going and meet him on the way for our strong safeties. Force a change of direction. We talk about all of these things. They're built into our drills. There's nothing in our drills that goes against this. If you say that you're going to be a 90-minute practice plan, if you say you're going to be 90-minute practices at 90 minutes, when you commit to that way of thinking, there is no more do it right, do it light, do it wrong, do it long. There is no more we're starting over. We've said, so that's, for me, that's a thing called containers principle. Everything has a container. Everything is within a set time. Everything has a start and an end time. So that's important to me. This is the only thing I have that doesn't have an end time. This is the podcast. Everything else is like, and I've tried to do on the podcast, and we like doing it. And it's,
we're not good at time constraints.
Not good at that. But I mean, if you get on a coach call with me, now I'll also say that Chalk Talks usually don't have an end time because that's about taking care of whatever our coaches need. But if you get on our new members get a one-on-one coach call with me, and I'm going to tell you, hey, I got calls booked back to back. I'm going to get on this. We're going to answer anything you got. I'm going to get off. So it's your 20 minutes, whatever. If you need to interrupt me, go ahead, because it's your time, and I'm okay with that. And if you say, you know what, I'm tired of the answer to this question, I'm ready to go to the next one. Okay, it's fine. We got time. If it's a 90-minute practice, it's a 90-minute practice, and I do that because it's the last day before vacation kind of principle, right? It's you get everything done, everything gets done better. I don't work on weekends anymore in my business. And in coaching, I'm not coaching this year, but in the past couple of years of coaching, I refuse to work on Saturdays. And I said, everything's going to be done by Sunday. I'm not watching film. That's not true. It's not that I don't not watch film, but the game plan is done Sunday night. And we use our game film masterclass and everything we have set up there. And the game plan is done. And I've pulled everything I need out of film. I don't need to watch more film. I'll adjust. And usually what I'll end up doing is taking out over the next few days. But, for me, I look at, for me, working, and I apply this to, running a business, and if I apply this to practice. If I am working on a project and it gets to be Friday afternoon, it's very easy for me to just go, I'll work on this Saturday. I'll work on this Sunday. And the next thing you know, you work every single day and you don't get much done because you're always like, I can work on it tomorrow. Yeah. Some people may be able to set personal deadlines and say this has to be done by 5 o'clock on Friday, and you can set that deadline, even though it's completely, just arbitrary, and you may be able to accomplish that. For me, as long as there's Saturday, for me, a non-negotiable in business is Saturday and Sunday are off. Very rare scenarios are they not. And so I know if I don't finish this on Friday, we're bleeding into Monday, and the daggone thing goes out on Monday or it goes out on Tuesday. I know that because my team works on Sunday because they are in the Philippines. It's their Monday morning. So I know that they're in there on Monday morning, or usually like Monday afternoon for them. I don't care when they work, honestly, for the most part. And they're usually in there Sunday night. So if I don't get it done, there's nothing for them to do on Sunday night, right? If they're waiting on something from me. So like those things are set for me because I'm not going to come in on Sunday night and do it. Otherwise I would. Otherwise I'd be like, well, I haven't done for them on Sunday night because I'm going to work all day Sunday. I apply all that to football. I apply all that to the playbook. If we have a 5-minute install rule, 1 period, it could be 4-minute install rule. If I can't install this play in 1 minute or in 1 period, we're not doing it. So the playbook is the playbook. I don't have the ability to just go put new things in. I've got to be able to tag up, like you said, my 5 up front guys, they stay the same. When you do that, it's really important that you communicate all this to your players. Here's why we're not doing it. Here's why practice is over when it's over. And you can tell your parents to be here to pick you up. Kids don't drive anymore. So it just baffles me.
Talking like in their 20s, they don't have an ID.
Yeah.
Like they don't have a driver's license.
But, you know, this is what time your parents can come pick you up. We will be done, period. We will be done. But that goes to, on the offensive line, you can't play for us if you can't count to 3. Non-negotiable. I tell them why they have to be able to count to 3. Obviously, it's for, you know, blocking purposes. But then I have rules on pass protection. I mean, just you've got to be very, very, like, you've got to have what's happening, like, I mean, just defined, right? It's got to be clear. It's got to be, you know, you got to tell them, you got to stress it to them. And the more that you do that, the more that they'll buy in, because they know you're not just making stuff up.
Yeah.
And they're not surprised by things that happen.
You know, I really think it kind of comes back to your own commitment to your own cause, right? Establish the identity of your football team. It goes back to what we just talked about. What are your core principles, your non-negotiables, and how likely are you to stick to those? You've talked about containers and timelines and restrictions, but if you blow right through them, then why were they ever used? And maybe that's something we need to understand, is like, maybe we believe that our principles, our core principles, are a thing, but we blow through them all the time. So now it's just fluff. Now it's just stuff we say, right? I'm a huge extreme ownership guy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's times, and then it makes me so angry that I have to be an extreme ownership guy, but it's one of my core principles in life now. I read a book. It internally changed my life, and I truly believe in it now. I teach it to other people because I believe in it so much. But if every time things get hard, I immediately start blaming someone else,
right,
then that's not really a core principle for me. So it comes back to, a lot of it is just living the things that you have said are your core principles. They are your non-negotiables, right? And we talked about non-negotiable being by position. I love how Kenny talks about O-line and his, you know, in his gun T system. And he's like, you don't have to like move a guy. He just can't beat you play side. Just don't lose play side, and we're fine. That's my non-negotiable. Well, if you say that, and then a kid gets beat away from the play, and that is a freak athlete, and he runs down your running back, and you yell at the kid for not blocking him for 3 seconds, then it's really not a non-negotiable for you, right? That's not truly one of your core principles. So I think when you start establishing, number one, it's sticking to your guns. You have to have the I'm going to say audacity here, and it may not even be the right word, but in today's world, I think it is. You have to have the audacity to say, this is the line in the sand. We're not going to budge on this line. Everything before that, guys, we've not painted ourselves in a corner. We got rules that make sense. We have rules for a reason. We're going to stand by them. Having, you know, we talk about, you have to have there has to be a repayment if you mess up. If you don't live by that standard, if you don't stay by the non-negotiable, there's got to be a punishment. There got to be some accountability. So I think that's, you know, when you start talking about establishing the identity of your team, that's what that looks like, right? But it all starts, especially if you're going somewhere that doesn't have one. We don't have whatever it is. You've got to start somewhere, and a lot of it is going to come down to, it's just you as a coach. Look in the mirror, and you're going to be the one that has to establish it. You kind of, you kind of got in this a while ago, but really getting that player buy-in, right? That's the next step. I think we probably could have even talked coach buy-in in this portion, because whatever you believe, they have to believe, or this is all for naught. But creating that player buy-in, how do we get them to start buying into our identity and doing things the Patriot way, whatever the colonial way, right?
The thing about the coach simple, play fast, win, as I always talk about, that is the first step to creating buy-in. There are 3 things that a football coach has to do. And if you do these 3 things, you'll get buy-in. If you make them believe you're doing these 3 things, you don't even have to actually do these 3 things to get the buy-in. You have to make them believe that this is happening. You need to be able to teach them how to be a better football player, and you need to do it with safety and with safety in mind. So we have to teach them the technique of the game to be a better football player. So number 2, the kids need to have fun. If they don't like it, they're not going to stay. They're not going to come back next year. And so they got to have fun. Number 3, winning games. These are not in order. I am not giving you a frou-frou like winning games is as important. And notice in there that I didn't say anything about building relationships and all that stuff. That is important in a way, but you've talked before about kids that you've gotten to really help and really make an impact on. And I've like most of the kids, that's not the case though, right? Most of these kids are not we always talk about like we're a family and this and that. Most of the kids, I know there's exceptions. I know there's, and in certain areas, there's, in certain schools, there's more, but most of the kids have a family at home that loves them. Most of the kids have friends. Most of the kids don't need football to be their surrogate family. They'll be okay without that part. Now, there's a few that you can really help. There's a few that you can really give that to. But if that's all that you do, but you're not a good football coach, like as far as the X's and O's and as far as the technique and all that kind of stuff, it's not going to work out. Like I'm just telling you, that's if all you are is the motivator and that's great. Love to have you on staff. Need you to be there to, I need you to sit on the bus. I need you to babysit sometimes, but quite honestly, you're not a coach. Like we got a team chaplain does that. Like he's cool. He doesn't know anything about X's and O's. We got team mom, kids love her. She's not going to get a headset. So technique, teaching them the technique of the game, making sure they have fun. It's not always fun, but football should be fun. It's a game. And that they win games. Well, if you get kids in there and you start teaching them, and we talk about this all the time in the Coach Simple philosophy, what coaches try to do a lot is they try to decide what they want to do. Look at the players where they're at right now, low football IQ, low numbers, lack of experience, and we're going to grab them and we're going to strap a tow rope to them and we are going to pull them kicking and screaming with us. And look, we pulled a team into the playoffs a couple of years in a row. They did not want to go. But the idea is you don't want to be constantly pulling the kids to where you want to go meet them where they're at, and you want to put your arm around them, not literally, but I mean, sometimes literally, but put your arm around them and say, let's go, man. I'm going to meet you where you're at. And I'm going to bring you with me. Okay. Rather than me pulling you to where I want you to be. And so that's a difference. And so what I want to do is I want to speak to you and teach you and coach you in a way that you understand, because I'm meeting you where you are at right now. I'm speaking to you in a way and teaching you in a way that you can understand why this is important, why this matters. I'm teaching you in a way that doesn't change and doesn't get screwed up. And the next day I don't say something different, exactly what you said. I don't sit there and say, just don't get beat, just play side, just don't get beat, play side. What are you doing? My God, he went right over behind you. Yeah, whatever the words can use, I don't know. Like, you can't do that, right? I can't sit there and be like, first two steps on my offensive line. That's what I stress my offense. The first 2 steps are right. Everything else will be okay. And then, like you said, then get mad at him because he didn't drive the guy 5 yards down the field. It's like, well, the first 2 steps were right. We should be able to hit that. So that's the thing is, and then you can't as a position coach say all this stuff to him and build that buy-in and build that trust, and then go to team and the coordinator says, what are you doing? And you're like, coach such and such told me to do that. It's like buy-in is killed. And it doesn't matter which one of you is right. Buy-in is killed. Like, you got to start all over.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to tell the youth coaches, especially because youth coaches, dad gets the youth coaching job, and he's just going to go out there and make sure the kids have fun, or whatever. Like, that's a babysitter. Like, you need to be committed to this. You need to learn the techniques and the principles of winning. If all you are is a rah-rah guy and you got these chants and they go, yay, and the little high-pitched voices, and, you know, and they're all excited, and then they go out and get their heads kicked in. First of all, it's not going to be fun for long. Second, like, part of your job is fielding a competitive team. So the way that you create buy-in is you make them believe that what you are teaching them, and you have to, the way that you make them believe this, it's not authority. That doesn't work anymore. We know that, right? You can't just tell them because I said so, because I'm the coach. There are times when I've just been like, just shut up and do it right now. We'll figure it out later. Just shut up and do it right now. That happens occasionally. You can pull that one. But most of the time, if you've established that trust with them that you do know what you're doing, sometimes you can just be like, just do it for right now. But like, I'm gonna ask you to do these things. I'm going to teach you the drill. I'm going to show you the one-on-one game. I'm going to show you how to win the one-on-one game. I'm going to show you where this drill happens in the game. I'm going to show you film when it happens, when you do it correctly in practice. And you take what we did in individual and you transfer it to group and you transfer it to team. I'm going to celebrate it. I'm going to jump up and down and go, there, you see, that was it. That's perfect. That's beautiful. Spill it down, squeeze it down block. That was great. That's perfect. That's what we need. That's what we want. That's exactly, see how it worked. See how it worked. See how it worked. I'm building the buy-in of what I'm teaching you is making you a better football player. Okay. At the same time, if I'm celebrating the proper execution, if I'm celebrating it, we feel good about it. We feel good when we do things right. We like doing things right. We like coming to practice and practice being fast paced, but walking away from practice feeling like we got something done. Okay. It is kind of fun just to be around the guys, right? It is kind of fun just to be at practice and get something done and feel like you put in some work. Like, it's fun to go to the, like, as an adult, it's fun for us to go to the gym and feel like, and walk away feeling like, man, I put in a good workout and I got some things done, and I walk away, I'm happy about it. That was fun. Like, it wasn't necessarily fun every second of the way, but it was fun. I had fun, and I know I got better. That's kind of what makes it fun. And then, if all that happens, I believe that because I'm buying into what you're telling me, and I believe what you're doing is right, and I believe you're making me a better football player, and I'm having fun doing it, and I'm seeing the other guys around me doing the same, I believe we're going to win more football games. So I don't actually have to win the games to believe we're headed in the right direction. And that's where the buy-in comes from. But all of that comes from you saying and speaking the same language and communicating the identity to your players all day long.
It's almost like this, along with everything else in life, is just consistency, right? It's just showing up and doing the same stuff a whole bunch of times, even if it gets boring.
It is showing up and doing the right things.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If we show up and we do the same thing every day. So that goes back to you know, we talk about everyday drills, and I don't like everyday drills. Because, yeah, that's consistent. But it's also consistently doing the exact same thing. There's no progression. There's no build. There's no moving forward. And so then a kid turns around to you and goes, Coach, we do this every day.
Right.
I remember when I was in college, and I wasn't a good football player. Make no mistake. I was probably had no business playing college football. But I played defensive end my freshman year. And we had a young coach. Good coach, bad coach, I don't know. What I know is every single day we did ropes, chutes, and sleds. And those little left sleds and stuff. And we did that every single day. And I ain't never seen a rope, and I ain't never seen a chute, and I ain't never seen a sled on the field. We did them every single day. The first week, it was hot. I probably hadn't taken care of myself over the summer, last summer at home, you know. Probably didn't do all the workouts the way that I should have. Probably didn't come in top shape. It was real hot, but it wasn't that hot because I'm from Georgia.
Right.
This is Virginia. So by the second week, I kind of got that, you know, got through that 2-a-day mess, and it was just a joke every day. I was just running around. I wasn't becoming a better football player. The next year, I can tell you that I played linebacker, and our defensive coordinator, again, I can't say he was a great coach or bad coach or whatever. I can tell you I didn't like him. But I can tell you that I played linebacker in high school up until my senior year, and then just out of necessity, I played nose guard. I can tell you that a week in, I was like, oh my God, this is what a linebacker does. This is like all of a sudden the lights came on because I had somebody who I was like, whatever he's teaching me, I'm like, the lights came on of like how linebackers are supposed to play. No offense to my high school coaches, but I didn't get it. Probably not their fault.
Dude, I didn't understand football until I became a coach, so it ain't their fault.
I had the lights came on in college for me, like my sophomore year.
I think about buying or creating this buy-in. I think it all goes back to leadership, and we try to push it off on all these other principles and things and stuff you can find online. But luckily, the military finally taught me some leadership through the OCS program. And it all comes back to the military uses the be, no, do model. And really, that's how you get buy-in, is being a good leader, being a good coach. You talked about earlier, if all you do is put your arm around people all day and tell them you love them, but you can't do the X's and O's, you don't have what we call that expertise, right? You don't have any actual knowledge of the game. You're not going to be a successful coach. They're not going to buy into your football program because you just love them a lot. Not that isn't important. I think it absolutely is. I think the ability to build relationships and show that you truly care, having empathy, all those things, 100% is part of it. And that falls right, weirdly enough, right back into the be, no, do model. So it's, if you look the part, you constantly are self-improving so that you know what's coming around the corner. You're not just running granddad's system for the 47th year in a row because it's all that you know and all you'll ever learn. If you have the expertise, if you can show that dude, I understand that you got beat by that kid because he's twice your size. He's a 1.5 and you're a 0.75. He's just better than you, right? So I can feel that for you. I'm still asking you to do your job. I'm asking you to do a non-negotiable, and I'm going to give you some help because I know you can't do it one-on-one.
Or I've got to make sure that the non-negotiable is something that requires no talent.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 100%. Right.
Like
the kid is twice your size, and
I'm not mad at you because the kid's twice your size and you couldn't drive him down the field for 5 yards. That's not non-negotiable. What I'm mad about is you didn't communicate with the guy next to you and then take the correct first 2 steps, because that doesn't take talent. Like that's the non-negotiables need to be things that don't take talent, the exception of the free safety, because they just got to come down.
So I think if coaches, if you really want to get buy into your program, I 100% think if you go look up the be, no, do model from the U.S. Army, and that is their leadership model, and it will show you what it takes for people to look at you and go, yes, I will follow him. Ours is a little bit different following, but we still have to get buy-in to our identity as a platoon or as a squad or as a company or whatever size element we are. We still got to get people to follow us, right? One of my favorite leadership quotes was, leadership is, and I think it actually came, I've seen it from other countries since, but I learned it going to war my first time, and it was, leadership is requiring someone to follow you to hell and having them look forward to the trip. Like, two-a-days are hell on earth for football players. That's why we don't do them anymore in high school, right? They're not outlawed completely, but they've sure put restrictions on it. And I think we've realized that there was a point of diminishing returns or whatever that exact. But having a kid that wants to show up and do that for you every time, you didn't just get it because you loved him a lot, right? He thought, this coach is making me better. This is a requirement. He knows enough about ball that this is what he thinks is the best way to get it done. Football's not, it's a great sport. It's a fun sport, not for everyone. There's some little kids that show up that don't need to be out there. And I was one of those. I did it because I loved the game, because I loved what the coaches were doing, right? I had full trust in them. I think that's what it is, man. If you want buy into your program, into this identity you're trying to create, I think if you go follow that model, you can, I don't care what identity you're trying to create. I think it'll help. Yeah.
I mean, it's just got to be consistent. I mean, it's exactly what you said. It's got to be consistent, but it's got to show progress. I mean, if you don't show progression, there's going to be the point where they're like, what are we doing? Like,
yeah, the ability to adapt is huge.
Yeah.
It's another one of my core principles in life is be adaptable.
Well, it's like you talked about, if you've got the kid out there who, he can't get it done because the kid across from him is, so much better. It's like, what is the next step? What is the next thing to do? It's like, I remember this kid, I was coaching wrestling, and I didn't know much about wrestling. I coached for 3 years. I wrestled for 1 year in high school. I think I went 0-5 on the JV. Like, I wasn't a good wrestler. I didn't know what I was doing. I was the football coach who was with the wrestling team, being the assistant wrestling coach and helping out and doing the best I could. And I will never forget, we had a kid who was he was our 103 at the time, and he was good, and he was very experienced. He'd been wrestling for a long. He knew more wrestling than I did. He goes on the mat, and he's wrestling a girl who's better than him, and which is tough for guys. And it was even tougher 20 years ago, probably. So she's absolutely working him, and she's not going to pin him, but she's up like 9-2, and he's laying there flattened out, palms up, looking at me. I'm sitting in the corner. It was one of those where we're at a big meets, or head coach is somewhere else, looking at me, and like all I knew was she was going to beat him, and I was like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. Base up, like I don't know, because I mean I'm sitting there just talking to him. Like it's very calm. It's one of those, like, he knows she's better. He knows she's beating him. It was calm, but like as a coach, now I will say as a coach, I did the thing that makes me not a good wrestling coach, right? Where I go, I don't know what to tell you,
right?
But I also didn't do the wrong thing, which is let me just make up some crap.
Yeah, let me just yell at you.
Sometimes it's
Yell
okay to just look at him and go, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Either your answer can't be screaming at them to keep doing the same thing you told them before. Now, if they're not doing the thing that you told them to do before, that can be an answer. But you need to figure out why they're not doing the thing you told them before. So the answer is either I have another idea, or I have a solution, or I have, we can talk them through. This is the thing. You will create a tremendous amount of buy-in when you can explain the problem and the solution, and they understand, and again, you meet them where they're at. Again, if you can't do all that, there are times where you just go, I don't know. I got to find out. I got to go ask another coach, or I got to look it up, or I got to figure something out. But I don't know. Of course, that didn't help him in the middle of the match, but it wasn't going to. He was beat. Right. But that's kind of my only thought process with it, is like, you can't just be stagnant. You can't scream at him for, it's like the worst thing. The thing that I hate the most is the coach screaming wrap up on the sidelines. It's like,
block somebody, block harder,
wrap up, catch the ball. And it's like, but wrap up's the one that gets me, because the one that, be confident. What? The one that gets me is wrap up, because very, very few, every year it feels like there's a new like tackling thing that we're doing, and like we're using new words for tackling. But like for me, for years it's been eyes through the thigh, squeeze the legs, drive for 5. It's the Pete Carroll hawk tackle. So
absolutely, that's the best.
Eyes through the thighs, squeeze the legs, drive for 5 is the only coaching points that we have. And then I got a guy who only shows up twice a week screaming, or only shows up for game day, and somehow gets a sideline pass and a shirt, and he screams, wrap up. What? That's not a coaching point that we teach. So like, that's the one that drives me insane, is you're screaming at him to wrap up. It's like, you just made up a coaching point. It's worse than screaming catch the ball, because at least that is correct. His job is to catch the ball.
You're actually supposed to catch the ball.
You're actually supposed to catch the ball. Now, I would prefer you give him some pointers on how to achieve that goal. But when you just scream wrap up, and it's not a coaching point that we have ever taught, what are you doing?
Oh,
that's the one that gets me.
I love it. Well, Joe, I think, man, we've checked all the boxes tonight. We went through our 3 big points. Real quick, guys, if today's episode's made your coaching brain spin at all, and you're just thinking, hey, that's a new way to do that, or a new way to think of that, or you picked up anything, pass that on, man. Forward it to a coach, forward it to a parent, forward it to a kid that maybe doesn't understand. I don't know. Send it on. Send the episode somewhere. I see all of you that are watching live. We've got some good numbers listening live to us tonight. You guys too, right? Hit the share button right now. You're on Twitter. You're on Facebook. Spread the wealth. That's all it kind of takes for us to grow the game. Tonight, we talk about building a team philosophy, identifying your core principles and non-negotiables, establishing the identity of your football team, and creating player buy-in to that identity. Last week, we talked about not having enough depth at key positions. And next week, we're going to talk about we can't move the ball consistently. I'm really looking forward to that one because, like, once again, I think it's one of the key problems coaches see. Joe, let's pay the bills one more time. Get out of here, man.
Yeah, if your football team has been stuck in a losing tradition that you can't seem to break, you've put in the work, you've done all the right things, but nothing is changing. As soon as things go wrong, as soon as adversity strikes, the heads drop, the here we go again feeling, it's time to break out. I've got a brand new coaching manual called Breaking the Losing Cycle that reveals how underdog teams are turning their seasons around without needing more talent or a bigger roster. You're going to find out why teams stay stuck in that losing cycle, the secret ingredients to break out, and the quick fix solutions that you can use right now to break the losing cycle for good. Download that free manual at joedanielfootball.com/breaking to break the cycle and put an end to your losing tradition now. Again, just go to joedanielfootball.com/breaking or just go to joedanielfootball.com. It should be on the front page.
There you go. I'm going to send you to Patreon, patreon.com/Chamberlain Football Consulting. If you are looking to add an extra guy to your staff throughout the week, you need a little bit of help game planning, breaking down film, tagging film, whatever it is. Graphics. I've gotten into the graphics a lot lately. If there's anything you're needing help with, go to patreon.com, look for a tier that will fit what you need. If there's not one, please do send me a DM or an email or something. Get in contact with me, and I'll create your own tier. I'll even name it after you, so everybody knows that's the one that he needed. What cells are opening and closing as this comes out? I believe in 2 weeks, Joe, around the 11th.
Oof. Nothing.
Love it. Let's go. It's football season, baby.
Football season. Yeah.
It's time to execute, right?
Football season.
Social
You're
media.
lost, go to JDFB, go to joedanielfootball.com/membership.
There we go. Social media, I'm at Coach Chambo OK on Twitter/X. You can find me on Facebook, Daniel Bryce Chamberlain. Way too much info in that one name alone. Email me at chamberlainfootballconsulting@gmail.com. And, of course, the Patreon. Joe, where can we find you, sir?
Email Joe at joedanielfootball.com. The podcast is on Twitter at FootballInfo or X or whatever. It's Joe Daniel Football on Instagram, on TikTok, joedanielfootball.com/ Facebook.com/Joe Daniel Football, joedanielfootball.com/YouTube, all those places. And then you can watch the podcast on YouTube. You can see the clips, all that good stuff.
Love it. All right, man. Time for us to close things out. If it's your first time here, subscribe now so you're ready when we roll out all the new episodes. If you've been listening for a while, drop a review and let other coaches know this is where we some real football talk can happen. Thanks for being part of the Football Coaching Podcast. Remember, coach simple, play fast, win.